All right, let's unpack this. Today, we're embarking on a deep dive into a narrative that, well, it truly unravels this complex tapestry. Secrets, betrayals, unexpected connections.
Mm,
It all sparks from the enigmatic life and the sudden mysterious death of one woman. She lives in this small, isolated village.
right.
Our source material today it's really rich, a very in-depth account exploring how this single event doesn't just pull back a curtain, it kind of shatters it,
Yeah.
exposing decades of hidden truths and challenging everything the villagers and, importantly, our narrator thought they knew. So our mission today is to dig into those powerful nuggets of insight, try to piece together this intricate puzzle, and really understand the deep human impact of these unearthed revelations.
Absolutely. And this narrative, it offers a truly compelling examination of how secrets reverberate,
Right.
especially within a really close-knit community like this one.
Right.
What's particularly striking is how an event, like a death, which seems quite contained,
Yeah, almost simple on the surface.
exactly how it can become this catalyst, forcing a deeper look into the very core of relationships, identity, and, well, the oppressive weight of an unacknowledged past. We'll explore not just what happened, but how these deeply embedded fears, superstitions, societal norms, how they can profoundly distort truth and ultimately shape individual destinies.
And what a powerful catalyst Dora, the great-bellied woman, proves to be. She's really the gravitational center of our story, isn't she?
Definitely.
Imagine her, this truly larger-than-life figure in this small village. She's independent, generous, admired, yes, but also, undeniably envied.
A complicated figure.
Very. Our unnamed narrator, who's kind of our eyes and ears through this whole journey, she remembers Dora arriving when she was just 5 years old. And Dora was already great-bellied, speaking with this distinctive low and thick voice and a strange accent.
So, an outsider from the start.
Totally. Rumors preceded her, whispers that she'd killed a man across the sea, though she never confirmed it. Dora, well, by all accounts, she lived by her own rules. She wasn't bound by the local superstitions or prejudices, which is a quality the narrator clearly admired.
Interesting.
People flocked to her, men and women alike, seeking counsel, food, shelter, sometimes even money. But the men, well, the men paid handsomely for her bed, drawn to her door-wide hips and plate-sized breasts, as the text puts it. She was, in many ways, an island unto herself, yet the whole village ecosystem seemed to kind of revolve around her.
Her presence, as you describe it, it was almost mythological, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Which makes the initial account of her death all the more jarring in its mundane explanation.
Right. A freak accident.
Exactly. She was found frozen at the bottom of a ravine. A freakish accident, supposedly slipped on ice, suffered a fatal blow to the back of her head. There's this detail about her feet being sliced through the ice, holding her fast.
Oh, chilling.
Yeah, in her blood, a dirty spray of ink across the snow. It paints this stark, really chilling picture. But, well, as often happens in communities like this, the seemingly simple truth quickly begins to fray at the edges.
Okay, so where does it start to unravel?
Well, the first crack comes from the narrator's own mother, who happens to be the village midwife.
Oh, okay.
She reveals that Dora had visited her only 2 weeks prior. And this wasn't the fearless, indomitable Dora everyone thought they knew. No, she was utterly terrified.
Terrified. Why?
Convinced the baby inside her was the devil's child and that it would kill her. Now, this revelation, it just raises this critical question. Why would a woman so strong, so outwardly unyielding to fear, suddenly believe in such a potent, superstitious dread? A devil's child.
Especially given her history. Didn't she lose other children?
Precisely. It's a fear deeply rooted in her past experiences, as most of her children had tragically died during labor. So this fear, it's profound. And she leaves behind her only living child, Johann, known as Longboy. He's 11, described as built like an ox, like his mother, but slow of speech and thought, almost trapped in a man's body.
Wow.
And his grief at her burial, it was so intense, almost animalistic, that it required 4 strong men to physically carry him home.
Just that image alone, it tells you so much about their connection, his dependence on her.
It really does.
That detail about Dora's sudden, profound fear is incredibly unsettling, isn't it? It instantly transforms the narrative from, like I said, a simple accident into something far more complex and, well, yeah, sinister. And it's our unnamed narrator who guides us through these shifting realities. As a child, she's small, incredibly observant, the daughter of this pragmatic village midwife, living in a dark, humble cottage. Interestingly, she She harbored this childhood belief that her mother was actually a witch.
A witch because of the midwifery.
Yeah, because of the hidden, mysterious, and often painful process of childbirth her mother managed. It seemed like magic, or maybe dark magic, to a child. A belief her mother, with her stern, practical nature, quickly and firmly shut down.
Understandable.
The narrator's early life also included these vivid visions of demons, which actually led her mother to consult both a local cunning woman, a kind of folk healer dealing in charms and remedies,
Right, common in those times.
and Reverend Wickley. Her mother, while described as taciturn and circumspect, gave her this very clear, almost foundational warning about men. She said, "Men who offer much for little are not worthy of your trust."
Powerful words. And prophetic, perhaps.
Definitely a sentiment that echoes throughout the narrator's life.
And that warning about men and trust, it really sets the stage for the narrator's coming of age, doesn't it? If we connect this to the broader picture, her personal journey from this innocent child to a discerning young woman, it mirrors the struggle for understanding and agency within a society that's just tightly wound by secrets and these rigid strictures.
So how does that play out?
Well, at age 14, her life takes this significant turn. She moves to the Great House. And this move, it isn't just a change of address, it's a huge expansion of her intellectual world.
Ah, the education part.
Exactly. She's educated there, learns to read and write from the mistress, and that fundamentally broadens her perspective beyond the, limited scope of her mother's cottage. But this new environment, it doesn't just offer education, it exposes her to the stark class dynamics and the often unspoken power structures involving the men within the house.
Okay.
And this further shapes her views on trust, desire, vulnerability. We see this early on through figures like Joseph, the quacksalver.
The what now?
A quacksalver, basically a charming charlatan selling false optimism and apparently stealing chickens on the side.
Ah, one of those guys.
Right. The narrator's encounter with him leads to this sleepless night of conflicting desire and shame. Ultimately, she makes this conscious decision to banish entirely the memory of that unthinkable softness. It's a powerful moment of self-preservation, really. A stark lesson in navigating a world where charm can mask deceit.
Wow. And she's learning this young.
Very young, and this personal experience coupled with the brutal historical example of Goodwife Kemble being ducked repeatedly for alleged witchcraft in the village pond.
Right, that story. Horrifying.
It solidifies her cautious approach to a society that can so easily and violently turn against women who deviate from norms or who just possess maybe unsettling knowledge.
It's clear the narrator's experiences are constantly shaping her, aren't they?
Yeah.
Making her a sharper observer of the world's hidden mechanisms.
Absolutely.
And just as we're settling into these deep personal layers, the mystery surrounding Dora's death just escalates dramatically. The entire village is plunged into this new level of fear and superstition with, well, shocking news.
The grave robbing.
Exactly. Dora's grave has been robbed, her body stolen. Mary, the alehouse owner's daughter, is the one who breaks this terrifying news to the narrator. The reaction from the community is immediate, primal even. Whispers of the rising of the dead or the devil's work spread like wildfire.
Understandable in that context.
Yeah, this isn't just a crime. It's an act that profoundly violates their understanding of the natural order. It ignites this even deeper, more desperate terror within this already tense and superstitious community.
And what's truly fascinating here, and frankly deeply troubling, is how easily and swiftly that fear and entrenched prejudice can twist circumstantial evidence into a conviction, especially when the accused are women operating outside conventional societal roles.
So the midwife, the narrator's mother, comes under suspicion.
She does. The grave robbing quickly brings in the local magistrate, described as corpulent with a snow-white wig, and the narrative takes this sinister turn towards a witchcraft accusation. The narrator's mother becomes a prime suspect. Why? Because a stillborn fetus is discovered buried behind her cottage.
Oh no, but didn't she?
Exactly. Or rather, the narrator later learns this was an infant she had promised to bury for a desperate traveler. A quiet act of compassion, really.
But it looks terrible.
It looks damning to the magistrate. He explicitly states that the practice of witchcraft is common among those of her trade. Her close-lipped nature, her quiet disposition, her perceived lack of advocates within the village, all twisted into evidence against her.
So discretion becomes secrecy, becomes guilt.
Precisely. And her earlier admission to the narrator that Dora was with child 5, perhaps 6 months, only fuels the magistrate's suspicion. He sees her knowledge as complicity, not professional observation. This whole sequence just highlights extreme vulnerability of women in that era, especially those whose work touched upon the mysteries of life and death. They were such easy targets for a community grappling with fear and the inexplicable.
It's a stark reminder, yeah. How quickly suspicion can turn on those who hold unusual knowledge or roles. And speaking of hidden connections, this next revelation regarding the master of the great house, Edward, this is pivotal, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
Here's where it gets really interesting, I think. The layers of the great house's secrets start peeling back, revealing a bond with Dora far deeper than anyone in the village, or even our narrator, could have possibly suspected. Edward, he's this reclusive figure, isolated not just by his position, but by a physical deformity, his spine bent like a hook.
Right, which shaped his whole life, presumably.
We discover his secret link to Dora through a Venetian glass vial, a precious personalized item he'd lost years ago, and which turns up. Well, we'll get to that. His emotional reaction to Dora's death and the theft of her body is profound. He desperately commissions a painter to create Dora's portrait from description alone.
From description. Wow.
Yeah. This isn't just mourning, it's an act of obsession.
Yeah.
It tells us there was a significant, passionate, and deeply hidden relationship between them.
Indeed. The master's deformity isn't just physical. It's this powerful symbol of his emotional and social isolation, maybe even his hidden shame. His reclusive nature, his desperate longing for Dora's image. It speaks volumes about a life constrained by both personal circumstance and societal expectations.
Definitely.
His obsession with the portrait and that lost Venetian vial, they're keys, really, to understanding his psychological landscape and the depth of his unspoken connection to Dora.
And Dora had secrets too, right?
The money.
Oh, yes. The plot thickens further through the narrator's own investigations. She uncovers Dora's truly unexpected financial independence. Beneath Dora's floorboards, the narrator finds a skull-shaped sack filled with an astonishing amount of money. A fortune Dora had amassed over a lifetime.
A fortune? How?
Well, the implication is through her various dealings, including the men who paid for her company. But this isn't just a discovery of wealth. It fundamentally challenges the simplistic, often judgmental view of Dora as merely the great-bellied woman offering comfort for a price. This secret wealth, it represents a form of agency and power she couldn't openly wield in that patriarchal society.
A hidden independence. Exactly. A form of protection, maybe even a burden she carried alone. You have to wonder, why did she keep it hidden, untouched, leaving it for Longboy who couldn't even understand its value? It speaks to the limitations of even substantial personal wealth when confronted with entrenched social norms and, well, personal fears.
So many layers to her.
And more insight comes from the painter. He's an outsider from Flanders fleeing religious persecution who reveals he actually helped a young, troubled Dora flee her own country years ago.
Ah, so there was a past connection.
A significant one. He reveals Dora's mother's diary, detailing her profound fear of Dora's father. The father claimed Dora was illegitimate and violently threatened both her and her mother. It strongly implies Dora fled, possibly even killing him to escape his tyranny.
Whoa. Okay. That rumor might have been true then.
It certainly adds weight to it. The artist also possesses a miniature portrait of Dora, which is later found with shattered glass. A poignant detail, isn't it? Implying transgression, maybe a shattered past, or perhaps a broken promise. It all adds layers to the mystery of her life.
It's astounding how Dora's life, even in death, continues to reveal these intricate layers. Strength, vulnerability, a past steeped in violence. And the revelations just keep coming, hitting closer and closer home for our narrator. In perhaps the most shocking, most personally devastating confession, the master, Edward, reveals a truth that shatters the narrator's entire understanding of her own origins.
This part is, yeah, it's heavy.
As a child, he witnessed his own father, the previous master, brutally assaulting the narrator's mother in the stable with a blood-stained knife. The horror of that moment, a secret buried for decades, has clearly haunted him his entire life.
That is a truly devastating connection, and it recontextualizes so much, doesn't it?
Completely.
The previous master was already described as an evil man whose death was a relief to many, including his own son. Now this same man is revealed to be the narrator's biological father.
Making her a child of violence and abuse from the very house she now lives in.
Exactly, and this explains the narrator's mother's scar, the one the great housewomen had cruelly dismissed as the devil's teeth.
Right. But which her mother now reveals came from that brutal assault. What's profoundly fascinating and horrifying, here's how the trauma of one generation violently shapes the next. It dictates lives, perpetuates cycles of silence and suffering, impacting not just the immediate players, but generations to come.
The weight of that secret.
The crushing weight of this generational abuse and the secret her mother kept for so long, it's almost unbearable. It forces the narrator to confront this deeply personal and horrific truth about her own identity and the hidden violence underpinning the world she thought she knew.
And just when you think the emotional peak has been reached, the narrative brings us to this truly tragic climax involving Longboy, Dora's only living son.
Poor Longboy.
After his mother's body is retrieved from the cave where it was hidden, rescued from the magistrate's clutches, Longboy, just overwhelmed, runs away. The narrator and the painter, fearing for him, follow his trail back to that same cave.
And then what do they find?
They find him shivering, cradling a dead infant tightly to his chest. It's Dora's baby, Longboy's half-brother. And tragically, his own son. Oh, God, the master's child.
Yes, and in a heartbreaking confession, uttered with his characteristic slow, halting speech, Longboy reveals the unimaginable. He pushed Dora.
He pushed her. Why?
Because she did not want me anymore. It was this perceived abandonment, a desperate, childlike reaction to the idea of being replaced by the new baby that clearly shattered his already fragile world. The discovery that the baby was Dora's and the master's adds yet another layer of tragic, forbidden complexity.
The crushing weight of that perceived rejection, coupled with the profound burden of his own existence in a world that just fundamentally couldn't understand him, it proved too much for Longboy.
It's devastating.
His simple, heart-wrenching words, "She did not want me anymore," they just highlight this deep, almost primal need for connection and love, which was misinterpreted and tragically misdirected. His despair culminates in a tragic suicide. He casts himself from the highest point of a cliff, plummeting toward his mother far below.
A desperate attempt to reunite.
Exactly. The painter drags Longboy's lifeless body from the icy banks, a somber echo of Dora's own frozen demise. And the immaculate infant, described as flat and white like just-made pastry, later finds its final resting place buried in Dora's arms.
Oh my goodness.
If we connect this to the broader picture, the narrative just culminates in this devastating exploration of abandonment, the ultimate cause of untold secrets, and how profoundly intertwined the lives and hidden truths of these characters truly were. It's such a stark reminder of the long shadow secrets cast and the collateral damage they inflict, particularly on the most vulnerable.
So what does this all mean for us then? We've really delved deep into a world where one unconventional woman's life and death became this pivotal point for uncovering generations of secrets. We've seen everything from hidden wealth and illicit affairs to, well, brutal abuse and the enduring pain of forgotten histories. We've witnessed how loyalty, prejudice, and the relentless struggle for personal truth can irrevocably shape individual and communal destinies.
Precisely. And the narrator's journey, from a child's innocent, maybe superstitious beliefs to a woman confronting her own painful origins and the complex, often brutal truth of her community, it underscores the profound power of empathy and resilience.
Yeah.
This story illustrates with such heartbreaking clarity how seemingly individual tragedies are rarely isolated. Instead, they are often deeply woven into a larger societal fabric, impacting not just the immediate players but also generations to come, creating this legacy that demands really to be unearthed and understood.
And for you, our listener, maybe we can leave you with this thought.
Yeah.
What hidden truths, conscious or unconscious, might we carry within ourselves or our families? Truths that continue to shape not just our own lives, but the lives of those we love, and maybe even generations yet to come.
Yeah.
And what might it truly take for us individually and collectively to finally unearth them?